happening. Clinging desperately to denial, I held the phone high up in every direction I could, whispering silent pleas for a miracle as my heart banged loudly in my chest, my eyes locked on the corner of the iPhone screen where the little bars would normally be. I was miles from a signal, miles from the road, miles into the middle of nowhere. I knew I was out of luck. I knew. Yet I couldn't stop trying. And with each redial, each attempt to reach out to someone, anyone, any other human being on this planet, just to let someone know I was here and I was hurt, the absolute futility of it sunk in deeper. With each press of the button, my hope melted into cold fear. Call failed. Redial. Call failed. Redial. Call failed. Redial. Call failed. I screamed into the sky as loudly as I could. Help me! Please! And I heard the echoes dissolve into the rocks around me, absorbed like raindrops, until all that was left was silence. Day 1, Tuesday. I was halfway across Joshua Tree National Park when I saw the coyote. A movement had caught my eye as the car idled on the side of the road, a glimpse of something large through the driver's window. I felt that gently prickling sensation you get when someone's gaze is on you. Turning my head, there it was, standing some 10 feet away among the scrub and the cacti, watching me with eyes as grey as its scruffy, dusty coat. I stared back. Hi. The usual instinct took over, making me reach for my camera, my hand slowly moving to where I'd nestled it in the well of the car door. Just then, the coyote moved too, trotting quickly away, shaggy tail hanging low, tongue lolling. It crossed in front of the car, paws dancing across the tar seal, and once on the sand on the other side of the road, it stopped again, turned its head, and looked back at me. What are you thinking, coyote? If you could talk, what would you tell me? I had just crossed the high desert portion of Joshua Tree National Park, following the turns of the road through the swathes of spiny Joshua trees that seemed to stretch for miles on either side, singing along to my favorite driving playlist. I sang loudly, liberated by the fact there was nobody even remotely nearby to hear me. I felt so utterly free out here. I had space to breathe, precisely the thing I had left my life in England to try and pin down. I thought of the stress I felt in packing up my flat and leaving London, how overloaded I had felt, how burned out and broken. And I had done it. I'd left it all behind, said farewell to London and all of the accoutrements of the life I had built there, on the road to find whatever it was I was missing, heading for the great outdoors. Sometime during my recent travels, I'd read an article about the experiences of astronauts who, after bearing witness to planet Earth from space, described an overwhelming awareness and profound sense of universal connectedness, something that came to be known as the overview effect, an emotional response sparked by a greater perspective. And I'd realized that within the course of my own life trajectory, I'd lost my overview. Maybe I was just too busy looking inward. What I was missing was a sense of awe. What I needed was to feel not just inspired and connected, but inspired by and connected to something that was real and solid, and which asked nothing more of me than to be myself. This is what led me to seek solitude in the outdoors, in the great wide open. And now here I was. I thought of all the decisions made to get me to this point, driving through the desert, with no one around for miles. Fleetwood Mac's Rhiannon came up on the playlist. I was immediately taken back to the first time I'd come here, to Joshua Tree, a side trip after a friend's wedding. There had been 5 of us then, packed into a boxy rental, elbows slung out of windows, the hits of Fleetwood Mac playing on repeat, one of the only albums anyone had available offline on their phone. I remember being so mesmerized by this place, the strangeness of the trees slipping past, the landscape as alien as anything I'd ever seen. I remember the details of that day so vividly, watching the road ahead through the frame of the front seats, the slosh.